Welcome back to Catholic Reboot. This is part two of the series on Be Fruitful and Multiply. You may remember the first one was with my father, who's 95 and had 12 kids, and this one is with Michael Yezevich, who's in his mid 60s. And the difference between the two is I thought it made more sense to just let Michael start talking about it, and then at the very end, I asked just a couple questions. But let's hear it from Mike Yezevich Sr. Okay, so we're here with Michael Yezevich, and this is on the episode of Be Fruitful and Multiply. And I really just wanted Mike to do the talking, so I'm gonna kind of even turn my screen off and just let Mike go for it. It's all you, Mike.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Walt asked me if I would do this little interview pertaining to, be fruitful and multiply. And we have 12 children. My wife and I, we've been married, it'll be 42 years. And I kind of, at first, I wasn't going to do it because I'm not very good at speaking in front of people. Like I've been like a nervous wreck ever since Walt asked me, but I wanted to do it because I thought it's important that, to let people know how wonderful it is to have a big family. And in today's world, it's pretty much anti-family almost, and so again, I thought I'm going to do this. I'm nervous and I may get a little tongue twisted or something. So you'll have to excuse me. Again, I've never did much speaking in front of groups. So, of course, my 12 kids we have here and my wife. So that was my largest group I had to address, So, but anyways, starting out here, like be fruitful and multiply, God told us that. And, you know, everyone's looking for happiness in this world, and of course our true happiness is going to be together forever with God, in heaven. And how do we get that way? How do we get there? To know, love, and serve God. So like, how do you serve God? I think like by doing his will, kind of, what he wants us to do. He's perfect. He knows, what's best for us, and if we just surrender ourselves to him, he really takes care of the rest, I know it sounds simple, but if you sum it all up, it does come down to that. But we live in this world now, we're all so bombarded with worldly ways and about everything else, how much money we make, how big of a house, and having, nicer cars and going on these fancy vacations. And I'm not, putting anyone down that enjoys that. That's nice. But to me, our happiness has been our children, and now our grandchildren. We have 12 children, and right now we have 12 grandchildren, one on the way. So, what a blessing. And people wouldn't believe how happy it makes you. It's a lot of work. It is, no doubt about it. Everything in life, it's we work hard, we struggle, we sacrifice a lot, and but that's okay. What you get in return far outweighs what you put into this, because again, we're doing God's work and God's will, and we're trying to serve God. And I always, when I was younger, I did worry. Of course, I'm the man of the house, and I have to provide. And to tell you the truth, when we first got married, we never talked about how many kids we were going to have or wanted to have. It's kind of funny. I had 4 siblings, but my wife, Danette, just had a brother. And here she is, the mother of 12. And actually, she had 2 miscarriages. So way I see it, we have 14, and someday we're going to see our other two. As everyone, I think, that has lost children or had miscarriages or whatever. So we have to look forward into heaven. In heaven someday, look forward to seeing those other two. So, but getting back, to the beginning, yeah, it was difficult. I mean, I work in a cemetery all my life. I've been there 48 years now. I started there when I was 16 years old, and I didn't make a whole lot of money, but it was more than enough with the help of so many good people, our parents on both sides, and so many people. Like I say, it takes a community to raise a family, and it really does. So we were really blessed to have our parents, both, both of us helping us out. Of course, like my mom and dad would buy our kids clothes when they were little, and my in-laws, buying us tickets, taking everyone to Kennywood Park, and we have some great brothers, and my brother-in-law has been terrific helping us out and doing things with my kids, but I'm not saying that, I wouldn't have liked to have been able to, maybe done a little more, but that was okay because, the more I look back now, I'll be 65 in September. So I look back and I think that, how did we do it? And, number one, I have an amazing wife, thanks to God. Speaking of wives and women out there, I just got to say this, that the world we live in now with, women, everybody thinks that to be like a successful woman, you have to have a career or go out and be something. But, the way I see it, and I think the way God has it, that the greatest job a woman could ever have is to raise children for him and create their personalities and teach them their faith and teach them to be good people. That's amazing. Could you imagine that? And to create new life. It amazes me what a blessing and what a special thing. Again, the most important job in the world for any woman, I would say. So, even the angels cannot create new life, and that life grows inside of them. What a wonderful thing all you ladies out there have. What a blessing, you were chosen by God to have that, ability to do that. So I just wanted to say that, but getting back to, in the early days with our large family, yeah, it's just a sacrifice, like everything in life is. It's hard when they're young, taking care of them. And at one point we had 3 in diapers at one time, but God always provides, always. We never went hungry. My kids we always had food, and, we had a lot of happiness in the house, and always activities and voices and laughing. And yeah, there was arguing sometimes, and there was some, the kids fight and scrap around a little bit. That's right. We had 5 boys, 7 girls. But again, when I look back, I think, man, those were such wonderful times, and they're continuing for us. Again, I think God has really blessed me and my wife, for having, a big family. We're getting the joy and happiness that money can't. There's no value on it. I wouldn't trade 1 minute of like enjoying one of my kids, for example, playing in a little league game, or singing on stage, or singing at church, or my boys played football, my girls, and the things were blessed to do and be a part of. And to me, you couldn't give me, all the money in the world to trade that, the happiness and the joy. And when I was sitting, I remember I used to even thank God. I said, wow, God, thank you for letting me enjoy this, like, at the moment. I remember getting one of my daughters up on stage singing in their musical, or one of my sons or whoever. So I think that, we place all our, in this life, on this earth, everything's geared towards material things, and I'm just trying to encourage and hoping that somebody out there is going to see this little talk of mine, that maybe wasn't sure, if they should have more children or not, or what to do. But I'll tell you this much: you will never be sorry or never regret 1 minute of having, as many children as God gives you, and that's, unbelievable. Again, the happiness that you will enjoy, I'll tell you. Um, I know it's scary, you know what I mean? And again, we don't get much support in the world anymore, with families, and such a sad thing, because, the structure of any good society is the family, and you know, just the children, though, having children, with blessings and joy and happiness they bring. You could never buy them. So I just, want to say that I will always thank God for what he's done for us, and we still, again, are now with our grandchildren starting out. I'm still having, my youngest daughters are still, my youngest is a freshman in college, and our next to the youngest is a junior. And like, for example, now they're playing college volleyball, and that, not that I'm trying to brag, but it's like amazing. Our whole life has been filled with, amazing things. So I'm just trying to maybe express a little to people out there, letting them know, when we cooperate with God's will and we try to serve God, how he will bless us 100 times. If everything we do, as they say, God returns the blessings beyond our imagination. So I don't know, for young people nowadays, it's difficult. It's scary. I know, again, and everybody puts the money. Well, do I have enough money? I want to get this house first, and I want to have so much money in the bank that maybe we'll have another child. But no, don't do it that way. Have your children, and God will supply you with what you need. So seems like everybody kind of does it backwards, and just do it that way. You'll see, and God will just, bless you, and he'll give us a little taste of heaven here on earth, I think so. And I look at it this way too: the only thing we could take to heaven with us is our children. Nothing else will go. None of these material things on this earth are going to go with us into the next world, into our eternity of eternal happiness with God, except, our children, our family, our grandchildren. And so it just is amazing to think of that. It's actually hard to comprehend that. But
Your kids.
I just do want to add something on here. Again, I'm not a professional speaker, and I've been very nervous, so I've forgotten some of the things I wanted to say. But, with the family, praying together, and family that prays together stays together. So I remember when my mom and dad they're both deceased now, but we prayed every day. We prayed the rosary and the Divine Mercy Chaplet. We'd say it in the car. I had a big van at one point. I had this big giant Ford club wagon, and we'd all be in there. And, that was the thing. As soon as we got in there and we were on our way to wherever we were going, to a park or to go take the kids fishing or a ball game, we would pray. And then I remember in the evenings, we even would bring candles home from church, and then we'd light it, then we'd all sit around the table and all the kids would pray. We'd take turns. And, it's wonderful now. Our grandchildren are doing this, and it's just amazing to hear them, the young ones praying like that. It just brings back these great memories. And of course, going to church, no matter what. And we were really busy, involved with, having the kids participate. My girls played girls softballs, and the boys played ball, and they wrestled and football. And we would go to tournaments, but we always made it to mass. God gives us these wonderful sacraments to give us the strength and the help we need to get through each day. And we never missed mass. I'm not, trying to brag or not, but I can remember, like, when we'd have a softball tournament, and unfortunately, the world we live in, a lot of these things went on Sundays and that, but we always would get to church. I remember taking them 7 o'clock in the morning down to our local St. Anselm church here. And then from there, they would be in their uniforms, and we'd, head right off to the games. And even like when my daughters played in these volleyball tournaments here over the last couple of years on the traveling teams, and that my wife would say, yeah, here's where we're playing, next week. That's how I'd get on not too good on the computer, but I learned a few things. So I'd look up masses wherever we would go. If we were, over a couple of times we went out to Harrisburg or something, and I would find all the local churches and get all the mass times. And in between tournaments, or sometimes one time even during between, we had like an hour and a half between games. And I said, we got to run the mass. So, and we did, and we made it back just in the nick of time, and to this day, we still pray. We still have our 3 youngest daughters still at home with us. And, every night we pray, or we still pray in the car a lot. If we're going somewhere, we say the prayers, and now we say the rosary here together, joining in with Walt put this together, and it's wonderful. And we just got to keep doing these things, and bringing back family values, and, to get our family all together forever above. I remember, as a little kid, my grandparents were born in Croatia. So they would, back then, our little town of Braddock here had 7 Catholic churches in one little town. They were all the ethnic parishes, And I remember my dad, we'd pick up his parents. They spoke, as I say, broken English. And we would go 8 o'clock in the morning down our church. Visitation of the Blessed Virgin Mary was our Croatian parish. That's where my dad and mom were married, and we were all baptized. And we ended up getting married there, me and my wife, and all of our kids were baptized there before they closed it. Now, unfortunately, it's no longer, there. But my grandparents were, of course, a powerful influence or guidance or help teaching us the faith. I remember at Christmas when we would save up our money and, and go and buy our grandparents, because always buying them like religious things, because they were holy. You go to their houses, they had, their little altars, and they had everywhere. Their house had, sacred pictures, holy pictures, candles, and, statues. And I've tried to do that. We actually have a fair amount, of statues and holy pictures throughout the house. I think everybody should do that. We have our holy water at the door. Bless yourself when you come in, when you're leaving, before bed. It's another nice thing for parents to do with the kids, But so I started saying my dad, is 100% Croatian. So we'd go to the 8 o'clock mass at 8, and it was in Croatian, And then my mom still at her. She's mostly Slovak, so it was St. Michael's at the other end of Braddock, at the other end of the town. Well, our church was in Rankin, a neighboring community, but and then I remember going, to her mass at St. Thomas, and I could still remember they had like life-size statues of the Stations of the Cross. They were real big and beautiful altars, and it was just amazing. And I still remember that church, and we were little, but I remember going to two different churches because my mom still wanted to go to her church, but then they went together. And then we eventually all ended up at St. Mary's. My mother we all went to mass together as we got older. But my grandparents too were real, really, as a lot of in the olden days, more the people were very close to God. I mean, I remember our lives revolved around our church. I remember like it throughout the year, we were always at church. We were always doing stuff. We used to set up the Christmas trees, decorate at Easter. We'd have processions. I remember the 40-hour devotions and doing the litany of the saints and the singing and that. It was beautiful, and unfortunately it's not, I remember even the Stations of the Cross, you always had benediction with it, and stuff like that. And I remember my brother and I became altar boys. So it was right before they changed. And then we learned all the Latin, all the altar boys knelt up in the front with the priest. So we would say all them prayers. And then took us about 2 years. She was a wonderful nun, Sister Josephine, taught me and my brother all the Latin, we learned it all. And then about a year or two later, they went to English, and all that was for like nothing. All the, well, anyways, I'm getting off track here a little bit with that, but yeah, it was great. It was wonderful, but to imagine we had 7 churches right in Braddock, because we used to, on Holy Thursday, we'd do the 7 church walk, and we actually walked to 7 churches. We were able to walk them, and I know nowadays with everything, changed, and so many of the beautiful churches are closed down. It just breaks your heart, but yeah, we were blessed to have, both sides. And I remember my mother's mother always saying the rosary, and then my mom, I remember kneeling in the bedroom, and I would kneel with, and she'd lead the rosary around the bed, and stuff. And it was very nice. I was very fortunate to have a good Catholic people surrounding me, parents, grandparents, and then, like I said, the community, our parish, was just, we were like a big family. Everybody knew everybody, helped. We had everything revolved around the church. We had picnics in the summer, turkey bazaars in the fall, and it was just so nice, and going and such holy people. That's
Right. Yeah.
that's a special gift. So.
Yeah. Well, Mike, thanks so much. I think it was really important to get both you and my dad on this episode, because you guys you walk the talk, right? So
Well, we're just doing God's will, Walt.
Yeah.
That's really what comes down. Be open with God, and it's like was our vocation. Even Danette says that. My wife says, "Well, I'm not really that good at much, but she says, I guess I was meant to be a mother." I said, "Yeah." I says,
Yeah.
"That's the most important, the greatest job on this earth for any woman.
That's right. Yeah.
Raise your children for God." Think of that. It's
Yeah.
mind-boggling.
Like you said, you chose the better half. You're not going to take the houses and cars to heaven with you. That's for sure.
That's the truth. Nothing
Right.
else does,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
but it's been wonderful. I would again advise all the young people, if you have as many kids as you can, or go for it, because God will work it out. God works all these details out that we all worry about. How are we going to do this? How are we going to afford it? He does. You do what he wants you to do first, and he'll take care of the rest.
That's right.
Don't
Yeah,
worry about saving up your money and getting X amount of dollars before you have another child. Have him. He'll provide you. So,
that's right.
Yep. Always lived in our small place here, and our kids are so close. It was the best thing ever growing up. We had bunk beds, two sets of bunk beds, trundle bed, and they're so close to this day. It's wonderful. I see that, and it just makes me so happy to see that.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
yep. So
Well,
anyway,
Mike, thanks so much. And actually, I'm going to see you in about an hour for the.
yeah, do the rosary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Walt.
Thank, thank
God bless
you.
everyone. Okay.
Bye
Take care.
bye.
Bye.
Grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.